course, people see all the highs, all the huge partnerships on social media. You guys have, everything looks perfect. But as an entrepreneur, I know that it's not always sunshine. There's also things that happen behind the brand that not per se everyone sees. Could you tell us what all the obstacles and hardships that you guys had to face to get here?
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. It's obviously it's been fantastic. We've been doing this for 20 years and a lot of great moments. But in business, there are a lot of struggles that you have to overcome. And I think right now on social media, a lot of people share a bit more of a realistic view. But there was a period that everything needed to look perfect. And nobody really showed, what was going on behind the scenes, which for a lot of people gave a completely different impression. Like, okay, being an entrepreneur, it's all amazing, but it's definitely not the case. We had a lot of struggles ourselves. If I just look at let's say the past 10, 15 years. Obviously, you had the financial crisis, which luckily, we were not affected immediately. We still grew a lot. We did a lot of amazing partnerships. But in 2012, one of our suppliers had a lot of difficulties with quality. They couldn't deliver what we ordered. And from every 1,000 watches that we ordered, they could only deliver 200-300. So we had a lot of people complaining, a lot of distributors that needed goods, but we simply couldn't deliver. So we tried to ramp up the production, but everything got way too late. Normally it takes, let's say, to produce a watch, it takes somewhere between 90 and 120 days. And was over 6 months, so really got us into a lot of difficulties. And then finally, when they got the production back on track, they started to deliver everything at once. So huge overstock that we had, and then you have to deal with that because everybody's always looking for, okay, what's new? You always have your winner watches that carry on for several years.
Yeah.
But everybody is always looking, okay, what's the new thing? What's the new thing? So we were sitting on a huge amount of stock that we had to deal with, and then you have to clear that, and you have to.
How do you do that? Because in this case, for example, you had a lot of orders probably that were ordered, and then you went to the manufacturer, like, I need this, it comes late, then you have the overstock.
Yeah.
How do you get rid of that, just to say?
So we always delivered directly from stock. That was our strength. So a lot of watch companies, they take orders from their partners and then they start to produce.
Yeah.
But we did the production and ordered and made sure that we had stock to fulfill all the orders. But of course, when the production is not going as it should, then your own stock is shrinking, and certain models, they are out of stock, and then then you simply can't deliver. So as I said, when they finally got it back on track and they started to deliver all of those orders that we've placed, our stock grew like crazy. And then you have to clear it. So you then have to work with companies to find alternative channels to clear the goods. But obviously that also has an effect on your general retail, because your partners are not happy with that, because they see watches at a discounted price. And it's the same for some partners. They were also maybe having overstocks. And I think that is one of the if I would say one of the most dangerous situations of a business is when all of you, because there's so much money that gets tied up then into stock, and if it's not rotating, it gets it gets very tricky.
What's a good way to keep balance of that? Because I think it's hard, as you mentioned, because you have both sides, right? On the one hand, you cannot deliver because there's not enough, and on the other hand, you have too much, and it's hard to get rid of everything.
That's. I think the first part is I think much better. It's very frustrating, but you could rather have that you can't deliver than that you have overstocks, because it means that if you can't deliver, it means your bank account is very healthy. If you have overstocks, it means that your cash is tied up into stocks, So I think the first scenario, if you have to choose one, then choose the first one. But certain things, yeah, it happens. You can't oversee everything, or you can't foresee everything. In this case, if your manufacturer is having issues, yeah, you're just waiting for them to solve it, and it's very difficult to find a new factory just very quickly. So you kind of just, yeah, you're waiting for them to resolve the situation, and in the end, you just have to deal with your problems. That's the bottom line.
It's also part of the game, right?
It is part of the game, and I've never met an entrepreneur that is saying, "Well, I've never had issues." No, it's all perfect. Yeah, it doesn't happen. I've also never met an entrepreneur that never lost money. I've met a lot of people that never lost money that have a job, but I've never met an entrepreneur that said, "I've never lost money." It's part of business, and you have to deal with that. And you have to then be creative. Okay, this is the situation. How are we gonna get out of it?
Now I see a box there on the table. You guys stood the test of time.
Yeah.
The balls of steel paid off. If I can make the joke. What is this that we have here? Because I've been looking at it since the beginning of this talk.
So we kind of came up with a new program where, for us, it's also about, we have a lot of fans, very dedicated fans. The amount of images that I get from people that have 20, 30 TWB steels is it's pretty impressive. So we have a lot of dedicated fans, and I think we wanted to create, so when times are difficult, a lot of people tend to go for, okay, but we need watches a little bit at a lower price point, whether it's crisis, whatever situation there is in the world, there's a market for every price segment. And yeah, of course, it's in a lot of cases, it's easier to sell a watch at 300-400 than it is at 1,000, but you also have to sell less at 1,000 than you have to do at 200-400. So we were working on a new collection. Really, the first intention was to do it exclusively online, but we knew back then that that's going to create such a big problem with our partners, because you kind of don't allow them the opportunity to take advantage of that. And so we discussed it with a lot of partners, like, okay, this is our plan, these are our plans. We're looking to introduce this collection. It's a higher end price point. It's it's Swiss made. It's got all the bells and whistles, sapphire crystal, leather on rubber straps, and really a high spec, high quality product. What do you think about it? And all of them were like, yeah, but it's difficult. 1,000 euros or $1,000. It's we see that's going to be very difficult. And if they already think it's going to be difficult, you're already 50% behind, because if they don't get behind it, it doesn't even get the chance to perform. So we decided, okay, what can we do to launch this, give some benefit to our fans on a price level. So this is where we created the pre-order, a pre-order campaign where we launched the product. And it is you have a pre-order price and you have a retail price. We don't talk about discount, because although we live in a world of discounts, and I'm not saying that we never did a discount or that you can't find a watch at a discounted price, but with this it was really specific, like you have a pre-order price that is this price and you have a retail price. Yeah, if you want the watch immediately, you have to wait for when the watch is available. But if you want to have the exclusive pre-order price, you have to wait for the watch. So we launched this in 2018 and it was a massive success.